friends, and welcome to the CUInsight Network. My name is Robbie Young. I'm the Vice President of Strategic Growth here at CUInsight, and it is my job on this show to have conversations with thought leaders who support the credit union community. In this episode, we'll identify issues affecting credit unions and have discussions on best practices and how we can all learn from and improve our credit unions. My guest on today's show is Mark Majeske, SVP Faster Payments at Alacriti, and Matt Kinne, Senior Director of Zelle Market Solutions. Mark, Matt, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate you having us.
So we'll jump right in here. And Matt, I hope that maybe you could answer this one for us. Tell us a bit about the Alacriti Zelle partnership and why it matters to credit unions.
I've been with Early Warning, which is the network operator of Zelle, all the way back to when Zelle was just an idea being kicked around. And back then, the conversations we had with banks and credit unions, very much different. We had to spend most of our time explaining what Zelle is and why it would be valuable to them and their customers. Now, Zelle is a household word. It's even a verb. But just please don't describe it as Zelly. Zelle isn't a nice to have for your members. They expect it. In fact, we have a statistic that nearly 80% of consumers say instant payments are the most important feature their FI can offer. So the discussions that we're having now aren't about why credit unions should do it, but how. And that's where the Alacriti Zelle partnership is so important. It helps address that how question. We'll touch a bit more about that as we continue chatting.
Awesome. Mark, did you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I think from an Alacriti perspective, when working with Matt on the partnership, it was our goal to look and find a gap in the industry. And so we were looking at opportunity where we could add Zelle to our current OrbiPay payments hub and add real value. Because from a P2P payment perspective, there was a gap. And what was happening was customers or members, in this case for credit unions, were going out to Zelle and to Venmo. And we kind of see this as an opportunity to bring that business back into the credit union where it should be.
So, Mark, to pull on that a little bit, what challenges do credit unions face today when it comes to P2P payments, and how does Zelle help solve them?
Yeah, I'll kind of build upon my last statement, because really when you look at P2P payments, and they're extremely important and large in scale. If you're at a credit union and you don't have something like Zelle, and what makes Zelle a little different in my mind is the directory. So I don't have to know your banking credentials to send you money. And that's the way it really should be in terms of a P2P payment. So I encourage banks, and I've been in banking for 18 years prior to my time at the clearinghouse and Alacriti, to really look at what's happening with my customer base or my member base. And in this case, I would always run a query on my database to see how many Venmo or PayPal debits I had against my customers' accounts. That size of the market for me, it gave me an indication of what's happening in my member base. And so once you get that measurement, you'll see that having something like Zelle as a P2P offering is highly valuable. It really helps the credit union to offer speed by exceeding member expectations, form a level of trust and security, reduced operational costs. It addresses regulatory compliance and liability issues. It really addresses all the issues that you would have in having to stand up that network. And Zelle very, very adequately or very well provides that.
And direct this next one at you, Matt. How are members driving demand for Zelle, and why is it becoming table stakes for credit unions?
I mentioned before that 80% of consumers expect instant payments, and members are increasingly expecting a fast, reliable payment option as a basic service. Just to give you a sense of that, Zelle in the first half of this year processed 2 billion payments, over $600 billion worth, again, just in the first half of this year alone. In 2025, we processed 3.6 billion payments. So we're on a pace already to surpass what was already a sizable number. And that number was 25% more than 2024. So these payments aren't just a matter of convenience. It's a part of managing their everyday lives. We have visibility into the types of payments that they're making through the memo field when it's used. And we see this growth across essential payments, such as rent, childcare, and recurring expenses. So again, for credit unions, offering Zelle has become table stakes just to stay relevant and meet the member demand.
So how does offering Zelle help credit unions strengthen their position as a trusted partner compared to fintech apps?
Yeah, I think I could take that one. I think that offering Zelle enables credit unions to support and strengthen their commitment as a trusted financial advisor or partner to members. They do this by competing with those out-of-bank solutions that I was talking about while offering security, reliability, and a level of personal services members can't find elsewhere. So take your advantages and use those to your advantage, while at the same time offering a system that helps you build and support your brand loyalty with members. So hence reducing attrition. It puts you on par with the fintechs in respect to convenience, speed, and value, leverages credit union existing trust and security. So it builds upon what the credit unions are offering that members know about every day, but it expands out that ability to service that member better.
And I like what you said there, Mark. Two key phrases that I heard, the trust in that brand recognition. Unlike fintech apps, Zelle is embedded directly in the credit union's existing app. So you're keeping your members in their financial lives in one trusted ecosystem. It's right there in the app you use every day, the one you know and trust. This just strengthens that relationship beyond what a standalone app can offer.
So, Matt, Zelle is widely known as a consumer product. How are small businesses beginning to use it? And what opportunities does that create for credit unions?
Yeah, Robbie, no doubt Zelle was originally established with focus on consumer payments. And we've all seen how well that's been embraced in the numbers I just shared a moment ago. Several years ago, we introduced Zelle for small business. The original intent was to serve that sole proprietor who's operating small business like a food truck, for example, and they wanted to, just as their consumer counterparts, get paid fast, reliably, safely. So in fact, it's remarkable that we see small business use case being used just as much to send from a small business perspective as to receive. First half of this year, small business payments grew 31% year over year. That's 180 million transactions. And what started as a really small number on the payment network, small business versus consumer, now small business makes up 15% of all the Zelle network's total transactions. Another key component is what we've come to appreciate as small businesses are extremely engaged. Small businesses average 3 times the number of transactions versus a consumer. So this is a tremendous opportunity for credit unions to deepen their relationships with their local businesses.
Mark, to wrap us up, could you share what makes it easier for credit unions to implement Zelle through Alacriti versus going direct?
Sure. I think there are a number of points that distinguish Alacriti from other options for implementing Zelle. The first and most important one to me is work with a partner instead of just a vendor. So what we do is at Alacriti, we're very good at working as a partner. Our success or your success is our success. We feel very strongly about that. So we walk you through every single process. We're there with you at every step of the process. That's important. You don't just want someone to give you a checklist and say, here, come back to me when you're done these items, because they're not that easy. I think also managing integration complexity by managing integration, APIs, and all technical aspects of the Zelle integration. Providing a targeted market time. We're currently looking at about 16 to 20 weeks from beginning to end, and that's starting in Q1 of 2026 for us. A core and digital banking integration. From that perspective, Alacriti already integrates with over 22 core systems. I think that's important because no one expects you to change your core provider to bring on Zelle. With Alacriti and working with Alacriti, you don't have to. So those are just a few. I think one last one that comes to mind is that we're with you through the entire process, including certification and testing, fraud and risk tools, and ongoing maintenance of your system as we build it out. So really, truly a partner that goes through the entire process with you and ensures your success.
I want to thank you both so much for being on the show today. Stay well, and thanks to all of our listeners today for tuning in to the CUInsight Network. We'll be back again next time.